Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something that's pretty different from what we usually tackle.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a departure.
It's Elisabeth Hasselback's children's book called God's Masterpiece.
Interesting.
And we've got a review here that digs into the book's message about, like, self-worth and purpose and all that,
Right.
Aimed at kids.
Okay, cool.
So let's see what this book is all about.
Sounds good.
So from what I'm gathering from this review, the main idea here is that, like, every child is special.
Right.
And they're created by God with a purpose, like a masterpiece.
Yeah, the review actually points out that this whole concept is like straight from the Bible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Psalm 139.14, it talks about being fearfully and wonderfully made, emphasizing how much care and detail goes into creating each person.
Makes sense.
It's not just random. There's
Yeah.
intention behind it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it ties in nicely with Hasselbeck's background,
Oh, yeah, right. She was on The View
Mhm.
and Fox and Friends.
Exactly. She's been in the public eye for a while, so it's interesting that she's now writing children's books.
Yeah, it feels like she's trying to reach families and talk about these values, like these core beliefs.
Absolutely. And the review really highlights how the book opens with this image of a heavenly workshop.
Okay, I like that.
It's this metaphor where God is carefully crafting each child with joy and precision.
So it's not just like a factory line. It's more like an artist's studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's thought and care put into every detail.
So this idea that every trait, like freckles a smile,
Yeah.
even personality quirks.
It's all part of God's plan.
Wow.
It really emphasizes this idea of inherent value, like you are perfect as you are.
And there's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
No flaws, just unique features.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
The language in the book is also interesting.
Also,
The review mentions it's inclusive and empowering. It avoids comparisons and instead emphasizes that a child's worth comes from God's love.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's not about achievements or being better than others. It's about being loved for who you are.
So it's really trying to instill this sense of self-worth.
Absolutely. And the illustrations apparently show a diverse range of children.
So they're visually reinforcing this message of inclusivity.
Exactly. Everyone is God's masterpiece.
And it sounds like Hasselbeck does a good job of explaining these concepts in a way that kids can understand.
Right. The review praises how straightforward the book is.
It's not too complicated for its target audience.
Yeah, it seems like a good starting point for conversations about faith and identity with children.
Right.
It lays the groundwork in simple terms.
The review also mentions the illustrations by Kevin and Kristen Houchow.
They're called the Brave Union.
Oh, cool.
And apparently they use warm colors and celestial elements and whimsical details.
So the visuals really bring this idea of a heavenly workshop to life.
Yeah, it sounds really well done.
And I also noticed that the review mentions repetition.
Oh yeah, like the phrase, "You are God's masterpiece."
Exactly. It seems to be repeated throughout the book.
That's a classic technique for kids' books.
It helps them remember the key message.
Totally. It reinforces the idea.
And the review points out the rhythm of the writing, too.
It makes it engaging for young readers.
So even though this book is rooted in Christian beliefs,
The review hints that it could appeal to a wider audience.
because ultimately the themes are universal,
Yeah, love, value, purpose.
those resonate with everyone regardless of their background.
Absolutely.
So it seems like God's masterpiece is all about helping kids see themselves as valuable and loved just as they are.
Yeah, and created with a purpose.
That's a powerful message.
And it makes me think, how can we apply this idea to the way we interact with kids in our own lives?
Yeah, regardless of their circumstances or abilities.
How can we help them see themselves as these unique masterpieces?
It's definitely something to ponder.
For sure.
I think that's a great point to end on.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
It is my pleasure.
Until next time.
See ya. Bye.